Hey everybody, Jason back with another movie review. This time I'm continuing the Stephen King um, adapted movies. Um, this time I am doing 1408. This one is one of my favorite Stephen King adapted movies out there. It was a short story of Stephen King's back in 1999. And honestly, I didn't read that and did watch this movie. And I'll tell you, I was gripping the chair in the theaters the entire time. It is pretty freaky, to say the least. So we'll go and get started, and I will do the cast members. The main character is played by John Cusack, and he plays Mike Enslin, who is an author of books. He goes to visit supernatural places, and he writes them in books. You have Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Gerald Olin, who is in charge of the Dolphin Hotel. And there's a bunch of other people, but you also have Tony Shalhoub, who plays Sam Farrell, and you might remember him from 13 Ghosts and Wings, and most recently Monk, which is where I've seen him the most, honestly. Pretty good cast on this one. I will definitely give them props. So we'll go and get right into it. Again, I did watch this in movie theaters, and I was gripping the chair. You didn't know what to expect. Scene by scene, you just did not know what to expect. So basically, Mike Enslin, his daughter passes away, and he is traumatized by this, and that's where he starts writing books of the supernatural. And in the beginning of the movie, you notice that he has stopped at a motel that is supposedly haunted, and you see that he gets back home. He lives in California, and he gets a postcard. It's from the Dolphin Hotel, which is in New York City, and it has a message on this place. It says, "Do not enter room 1408." And he thinks it's a joke, but you know what? He says, "Let's go over there and let's see it." And already I'm hooked in this movie. I'm hooked. You know what they do right here is, there's not a slow scene in here, and up to this point especially. So he goes to the Dolphin Hotel, and that's where you meet the Samuel L. Jackson character of Gerald Olin, who is the manager of the motel, and he is totally not wanting him to give out this hotel room 1408. He says, "No, you do not want to do this, not at all." And the thing about this hotel room is that there's been 56 deaths in this motel room since its existence. And they have a book that has articles and clippings of articles, and they even offer to give him a hotel room there free of charge, and they're going to upgrade him if he just does not stay in this room. And he says, "No, the law states that if I ask for this room and it's available, you must give it to him." So he does. He gets the room. He always goes into the room. He takes a tape recorder, and in the very beginning, he is walking around. There's nothing unusual about this hotel room. To him, it's another hotel room, which can feel a little creepy anyway. Then out of nowhere, the alarm goes off, and it plays this song over and over and over. We've only just begun, and he just assumes that Gerald, let's see, I always forget the name, Jared Olin, has just played a trick on him, to try to get him in the mood. So he shuts it off, and he's going around again, and it happens again, but this time the clock shuts off and it starts a counter, which it starts at 60 minutes and it's counting down. And this is also what he had said, that nobody has lasted longer than 60 minutes in this room. And that's when he was like, yeah, right. So again, at this point, I am hooked on this completely. And there's just some weird things happening here. I won't go into every detail in this film, but I will tell you that there was the scene that really freaked me out. A couple of them actually. The first one was that he is on his laptop trying to get a hold of his wife. He's trying to Skype. Well, I don't know if it's Skype because I don't think they had Skype back then, but instant messenger through Yahoo or something like that. And the fire alarm system, the sprinklers come down and they waterlog his computer, and he cannot use his computer. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, his doppelganger, tells her, "Hey, you need to come over here and get me out of here." And then he winks at him, which was freaked me out, honestly. So he didn't say that; it was somebody else. And then the computer just shuts down, and he knows, it doesn't work. During this time, the room's flooded. You see a painting of a boat, which also spills out. Then you find out also, like in the beginning of the film, he was surfing and he almost drowned. Well, then he wakes up and he had drowned, or it looked like he had drowned, and then he thought that the whole thing was a dream, which he was thanking God. He was like, "Oh God, thank God I'm not in there." He goes throughout his day-to-day stuff. He finishes up his book or something, and he's about to go ship it off at the mail, at the post office, and then something weird happens, and they tear down the walls, and then he's back in room 1408. And I'll tell you, when I first saw this, I think all of us in there had groaned and was like, "Oh no!" I mean, it was very disappointing because we were just like him. In this movie, you are captured just like he is. I mean, you feel like you're stuck in this room just with him. So when he was back in there, I mean, you felt his pain. I mean, oh man, just thinking about it right now makes me mad, because you really thought you were out. And that's what he said. He's like, "I felt like I was out. I was out." And he's just so upset. And then as the audience, we are the same way. And I love that they did that in this movie. So they did put that in the film, and it was outstanding, that part of it. So basically we'll jump to the end of it. If you get this Blu-ray, you will have 3 endings. The original ending, alternate ending number 2, and alternate ending number 3. And pardon me, I got this because I don't recall exactly which endings were which, but I will discuss the original one first. The original one is, he's up there and he gets a phone call from the front desk saying, "Hey, your wife is here and she's coming up." And he's like, "Oh, no. He can't let that happen." So he burns down the hotel, at least the room, and he dies. And that was one of the problems I guess they had with some of the people that watched it. They thought it was a sad ending. They just weren't satisfied that he had passed away and died. Because at the end of this, you see his funeral, and Samuel L. Jackson has a box of his belongings. He opens up that in his car, and he realizes that he has his tape recorder. He starts playing it. He hears his daughter's voice. He looks in the mirror, and it's a burnt... it is John Cusack, all burnt, and he scares him, and he drives off. That was the original ending. Then I look at this, and I say the alternate number 2 ending was... the same thing happens, but instead of the funeral scene, you go ahead and they look at Lily, which is his wife, and they at his L.A. residence, and she's going through a bunch of his stuff, and discovers that there's an actual manuscript for the book he was writing, and they I think they what they do is they give the manuscript to his agent, and so you assume that he publishes it, and that's the end of that one. Number 3 is he doesn't die. He doesn't actually die in here, and then at the end of it, you find out that he is living with Lily, and he plays the tape recorder, and he hears the daughter on his recording while he was in room 1408. He closes his eyes and he clutches the tape recorder to his chest, and only he can understand what's on that. So that's the ending of that one. I do like what I told you, the original ending, which I don't believe was in the theaters. If I'm not mistaken, it was the alternate ending number 3, the one where he stayed alive. That's the one I saw in the movie theater. But to me, I like the ending where he dies with it. He doesn't want his wife to go in there and get stuck in there. Because what I forgot to mention also in this one, Samuel L. Jackson drives away in the original ending, and then it flashes to a burnt 1408 room, and it shows him smoking his cigarette, walking around, and he's part of the room now, just like all the other ghosts that's in there. So he is now part of that room, and I do like that ending. So I'm glad that they put that in the Blu-ray. I don't know why the audience wouldn't accept that. I accept it. And that is it. Highly recommend this one. If you are definitely a Stephen King fan, I highly recommend this one. Also read the book. It's a short story, so it's not that long. I can't recall. I think it's about 40 pages. But they do an outstanding job with the adaptation to the short story to this. So outstanding film work by the director and acting by all of them in here. Again, I was gripping my chair while I watched this in movie theaters. I think everybody was. You almost felt the whole audience. You just felt like that they weren't breathing the entire time. They felt like, it was a once in a lifetime thing. And I think this is the only film that I've been at in the theaters that was like that. And I've been to a couple of scary flicks, but this is one where the only one that I've ever had to grip on the sides because I didn't know what to expect, what was around the corner, what's the next scene going to happen. So, all right, everybody, have a good night, and hopefully you guys have a good work week coming up, and we will talk to you next time on the next movie review. Again, please subscribe down here, and go to my DVD Review Dude page on Facebook, facebook.com/DVD Review Dude. I would appreciate it very much. Have a good night, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.